Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the GreeneScene Podcast. It's a beautiful day in Greene County, and we've got some very entertaining and, I think, fun guests with us here today, folks that you will be quite familiar with. I'd like to welcome to the studio today Mr. Mark Fox, the owner and CEO, president of Fox Ford Motor Company. Fox Ford, period. Fox Ford, period. That works. Okay. And also the commercial account manager, Seth Wilson.
Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to have you guys here. And, you know, I mentioned as we were chit-chatting right before we started that there's probably not very many people in Greene County that don't know who you are or haven't dealt with you in some form or fashion. But I still want you guys to introduce yourselves. Mark, you're born and raised in Greene County, right?
I have been. I've lived every minute of my life officially in Waynesburg.
In Waynesburg? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And Seth?
I was born and raised in Waynesburg. My mom and dad ran a Howard's Grocery in Waynesburg, Little Howard's, most people would know it by, for 40 years. And my grandmother had Big Howard's up in town.
Oh, okay.
And my grandfather, and that's been here my whole life.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys have the heritage
from here, and Sandy that works here.
Yeah.
And we've been married for 33 years.
Yeah, folks, Sandy Wilson is our advertising specialist with the GreeneScene magazine, so a lot of you know her too. And Mark, obviously, when I stumbled over the name in the beginning, that's because it has changed a little bit, the auto dealership, from the time that you became associated with it and even before that. And so just briefly, can you share with us the history of Fox Ford?
I can, Shelly, and we're very proud of the fact that our Ford dealership is the 12th oldest family Ford dealership in the U.S.
Cool.
It was started in November of 1912.
Okay, wow.
By my great uncle, whose name was Leslie Long. And it started in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, as the Mount Morris Motor Company. A couple of years after that, then he opened a dealership in Waynesburg. So he had two Ford dealerships, the one in Waynesburg. The location is still there. It's the former Tri-County Carpet Building across from McCracken's.
Right.
And Leslie Long had that business in Waynesburg until about 1940.
Wow.
When he retired. But in 1929, he sold the Mount Morris dealership to my grandfather and his two brothers.
Okay.
And they started in 1929. And what's kind of ironic is that was January 1st, and then the stock market crash was later that year.
That's right. Right after they buy it.
Yeah, and then the Great Depression hit. So they had that to deal with. So then it was Mount Morris Motor Company in Waynesburg. Leslie Long's dealership was the Waynesburg Motor Company. And then in 1941, in March, they moved to Waynesburg and opened the Ford dealership in Waynesburg as Fox Motor Company.
Okay.
And
41.
That was in March of 41. And then, of course, Pearl Harbor happened.
I was just going to say, first the Depression. Right?
Yeah, and December 7th of 1941. And for those who don't know history that well, then all the automobile manufacturing in the U.S. ceased as our industrial base was switched over to war production.
Right.
And Detroit, frankly, became the arsenal of democracy. There's a book I just read of that title. And so they had to make do for those 4 years with no new cars.
No cars. They can't sell.
And no parts.
And
I've heard the story, they had to fabricate parts. They hauled stone. They hauled Red Dog. They did whatever they could to get through those years.
But they did.
Of the war years, but they made it through. So Fox Motor Company was in place until 1964, and the name was changed to Fox Auto Sales when they incorporated their business. And the reason why it wasn't Fox Motor Company, there was already another Fox Motor Company in the state of Pennsylvania.
Oh.
So it was Fox Auto Sales until 1996 when we changed it to Fox Ford Mercury prior to building our new dealership. And then it was Fox Ford Mercury until 2011 when Mercury was discontinued. And so we had to drop that part of the name, and it's been Fox Ford since.
So when did you or your dad? When was it that he got involved?
Well, the story goes when they bought the dealership and opened it in Waynesburg. My grandfather Ollie and his brother Willis moved from Mount Morris to Waynesburg to operate it.
Okay.
So my dad then was in 8th grade,
Okay.
and they moved to High Street, just up the street from where the dealership currently is. And my dad graduated high school in 1946 and went to work in the dealership. And there's a story with that that's kind of interesting. My father was a really great athlete at Waynesburg High School, football, basketball, baseball.
And this is Robert Fox. Bob. Yeah.
And my dad was offered a football scholarship to play football at the University of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
But my grandfather thought, nah, that's not what I want you to do. I want you to work in the dealership.
Yeah.
And so he did. Now, probably luckily for the way it's all worked out, that was the right thing for our family.
Yeah.
But my dad missed out on a college education. And after the people at Ford got to know him, they were wanting to hire him to work for Ford. Until they found out that he didn't have a college degree. So that knocked him out of that running, which on the other hand, that's good for me
good
too.
for the good
Good for our family as
right.
well, long term. So,
Yeah.
so that my dad then operated the dealership from the mid '60s, after the retirement of some of his uncles and the passing of his father, and until my brothers and I got involved in the late '70s. My older brothers, me in the early '80s, and then my dad sort of semi-retired in the late '90s. And early 2000s, but he was still part of the business until his passing in 2012.
Well, he was also very well known and respected. Obviously,
He
in
really
the
was
community,
all through town. He served our fire department for 63 years as an active member.
That's another thing that you guys are really well known for. I mean, all of you worked for the fire department. Or volunteered.
We all have.
Department.
That started with my grandfather.
Yeah.
He was a charter member at the Mount Morris Fire Company in 1926.
Yeah.
And then he joined here when he moved here in 1942. Yeah. And my father in 1948. And then my brothers, as we were old enough, then we did. And I know this year I'll mark 50 years in December.
Wow, thank you.
Because I was 18, so you do the math. And I joined as soon as I could because it's just what our family's always done.
That's really great, and I think I love the commitment, and I respect it too of a volunteer fireman in all of our companies around. I mean, it's just tremendous.
Well, Shelly, during the late '40s and the '50s, our shop foreman at the time was his name was Clovis Wright.
Okay.
One of the first people who was hired in 1941 when they started here. Well, he was the fire chief.
Oh.
So during the day, if there was a fire, he left.
He left,
and so did several others because there
Yeah.
has always been several who worked at the dealership who were part of the fire department.
Yeah. I've known that. Several of the Waynesburg Fire Department's special. I was a victim of a house fire, total loss, and once you've gone through something like that, you just cannot imagine the love that you have for the people that commit to that and save.
And
what they
Seth was a
can.
member of our fire company for a while too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What other establishments in the community are you close to and involved with and helping?
Well, I've been involved with Waynesburg University as a trustee for the last 20 years, and prior to that, the Alumni Council for 10. So
Wow.
I'm a graduate of Waynesburg, and so it's important because Waynesburg University is so important to our community.
Yes, it is.
Its mission is so important to not just this community, but the
world.
the area. Yeah. It's Christian mission, and so I'm really happy to support it. Our latest initiative has been to support the new Way Community Center, which has just been completed and it's open and operating on West High Street in the former Belco grocery store building. So if you haven't seen that, you need to stop in and check out
That's
what's
exciting.
there. It's a beautiful building. It's got a wonderful ministry, and we're really happy to help support that.
And my wife and I do some volunteer work at the Way as well, and more so she does, and I just do what she tells me to do.
Well, you do that at home, don't you?
Right, yeah, absolutely.
That's just usual for you. Yeah, that is a really impressive facility and so much needed and used. It will continue to be used in this community. Thank you. So I'm going to ask one question. I'm thinking about you and what you did when you were a kid, and your dad so committed to this dealership when he's had. I just picture as you were kids in school, even you grew up in a dealership, didn't you? Did you go to work down there doing something?
Oh yeah, as soon as we were allowed.
Yeah.
My brothers all three brothers. All of us worked there. I remember my first job was mowing the grass.
Okay. Yeah.
And then washing cars and cleaning the bathrooms and sweeping the floors and so on. Yeah. And it wasn't until after I was out of college that I had a more formal sales job.
Yeah. Well, those are all important jobs too, obviously. Yeah. And Seth, when did you join Fox Ford?
I started in the car business, automotive business in 1993. Fox Ford, I started in 2020.
Okay, so you've been there for a while also. Yeah,
which was right when COVID started. So
of course. You always have to start when there's something going on.
Time. We went through a lot of bumpy roads for a few years. But yeah, I started, I've been there 6.5 years.
Okay.
But I have over 20 years experience in the car business.
In the business. Mm-hmm. And so you right now you deal mostly with the commercial vehicles.
Yes, I'm the commercial account manager.
That makes me think of I remember, of course we all do, 2008, 2009, the country was in the mortgage crisis. It was hard times. And I think it was hard times for the dealership or every business. We have got those periods that we go through. But then I can remember driving by and seeing Fox Ford with a expanded lot of white pickup trucks, more of them than before. And that was when we, in our region, of course, were fortunate to experience the beginnings of the gas boom here in this area. And that was probably very helpful to the dealership, I'm imagining.
Yeah, Shelly, that's been a big boost to us, the related companies that are involved with the gas industry.
Right, right.
Not so much the large companies, we work on their vehicles, but as far as sales goes, it's a lot of the smaller contractors that are headquartered in the Tri-County area.
Right.
That Seth has been very successful at making relationships with, and we've serviced and taken care of their vehicles and sold them their vehicles when they've needed them. But you mentioned the financial crisis, and Seth mentioned COVID.
Yeah.
And I remember the financial crisis was my first big event when I was operating the dealership that I had to navigate through. And it was very scary times because if you remember, General Motors and Chrysler both declared bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And under the federal bankruptcy laws, then when those companies reorganized, it gave them the ability to shuffle the deck on their dealer network. And without bankruptcy laws, most states have strong enough franchise laws to protect their dealers. And preserve their businesses. And in this case, many long-term family dealerships lost their franchises, you could say arbitrarily.
Yeah.
They received a letter, your franchise is being terminated, and that was the end of their business coming out of that financial crisis and those bankruptcies. So those were really trying times.
Right.
And then, as he mentioned earlier, in March of 2020, when COVID hit officially and the state of Pennsylvania basically shut the state down, we were determined a non-essential service.
Yeah, so you can't even be open,
So we could not be open. Yeah. And I had to lay off 3/4 of our team. That was the hardest meeting I ever had.
I'll bet.
Was to face all 40-plus people and tell them that I had to lay them off, and we were closed for 6 weeks. We got through it. In fact, it was kind of it's a little funny now, but it wasn't funny then. Seth had just started a month or so before, and then got laid off.
Got laid off,
and it was just very trying times then because you didn't know where the end game was going to be on that with COVID.
Yeah,
we didn't know.
No, nobody did, and
you didn't know if we were heading for the cliff and we're going to go over, or what was going to happen. Yeah. Those were really scary times. But we got through it. And I, as I mentioned earlier, my grandfather and the brothers dealt with the Great Depression and World War II. And my father dealt with coal strikes and steel strikes and interest rates of 20% and so forth. And I always thought, those guys dealt with issues a lot bigger and harder than this one. We certainly can deal with these.
That's a good attitude to have. Obviously, it's the whole family is resilient, and you've got good people working for you.
I didn't mind too much though. At the time, it was it was a bummer being laid off, but It was my son who was in high school, was out of school as well.
Right.
So we trout fished every day.
Yeah. Those were the highlights of the COVID issue, and I can remember seeing people just really enjoying the outdoors, taking walks and riding four-wheelers all around. And there were some benefits to it, you got to admit.
And my wife worked in the hotel business, or no, producers at the time, in the oil field and gas and oil, and they were essential, so they were allowed to be open. So every day she went to work.
She had to go to work.
And we went fishing.
Yeah, that's good. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the interesting things that go on in an auto dealership, at least today. I'm sure that times have changed. Obviously, there's been huge changes in the industry, in the manufacturing and the type of vehicles and what they go through and how they've changed. But I remember going to the dealership one time. This was in my earlier days. I think I was at the radio station at the time, WAMB. And I just went in there and I said, I think it was you I probably talked to, and I said, I want to work here for a day. I want to know what goes on, what the challenges are, what the jobs are. And I did. You welcomed me to do that. I hung out with Diane in the office. I got to do a little bit of filing. Then I went out and hung out in the shop a little bit. And I'm blanking on his name right now, the parts manager. I want to say Brian. Is that right? Okay, Brian. I remember Brian telling me, he said, my job, it's interesting. He said, I'm the one that everybody yells at. I'm the one that everybody complains about the pricing at. I have nothing to do with the pricing. Nobody here has anything to do with the pricing, and yet we get yelled at, because everybody's like, they get a part for a car. I mean, we've all been there. You think it looks like it ought to cost $15, and it costs $150, like, what? Oh, you got to be kidding me. I felt for Brian. He's a good guy. Is he still there?
Yes.
He still is.
Yeah. Wow, he's a long timer.
Almost 40 years he's worked for us.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
He's Brian F. Johnston.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he calls himself.
Oh, yeah, very official, yes. So my question is to you, I spend a day there. You guys intimately know the business. What are some of the memories, whether standout memories of challenging things? Obviously, we've already talked about the times that, but just everyday business. I think about people who maybe come in looking for a vehicle. What was the most challenging vehicle you've ever had to go shop for a person, if you can recall something like that, or anything come to mind? Some of your stories.
Oh, I've got a lot of memories, Shelly, because next week I'll have completed 44 years working full time in the dealership, and especially back in the earlier days, because things are a lot different now than they were then. When I joined the full time in 1982. A lot that happened in our dealership was a whole lot like would have happened 20 or 30 or 40 years before.
Before that, even.
We didn't have the internet. We didn't have computers. Everything was written by hand. My two brothers, my father and I were doing all the selling, all the front end work. There were only 16 or 17 of us total that worked in the dealership, and now there's 45.
Wow.
We didn't have the quick lane down the street. We didn't have all the space that we have now or facility, but it was a different time. It was sort of slower and I would say in some cases easier back in those days. But I was a bit of a naive guy back then, maybe still am, and I can remember a couple, 3 opportunities stories when I was selling cars that were like, oh gosh, you can't do that. That'll never happen today. But I remember one time, and this is my first year too, and I was down back then. You remember the old garage building was there, and then next door was this old gas station building that we use as our used car lot.
Yeah.
And I was down there talking to a guy on a Saturday afternoon, and just he was wanting to know about a used truck we had, and we're standing there, and I looked around, and I knew he'd had several drinks before he'd come in. You could just tell. And I looked around, and he was relieving himself on the back tire.
Oh no!
And I thought, okay. So I don't know that I sold him that truck or not. I think I was just a little rattled. And then I remember a guy came in one time, and again, still at the old. All 3 of these stories are in the old garage, and I was sitting at my desk, and again, I'm not very old, and. He puts this guy comes in, puts his head down on my desk, and just shakes his head. He says, I just don't understand women. And I said, well, I don't really either. And he said, well, I don't understand these women. He says he had his wife and his girlfriend both, and they were, and he had them both living in the same house with him. And he said, I just don't understand why they won't get along with each other.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I said, well, I definitely can't help you on that one either. And then the third one I remember, I had this old guy that called me, and I dealt with him before, and he lived out towards Lippincott. And by this time, he was well into his 80s, and his hearing was shot, and his body was pretty well shot, but he wanted a new car, and he traded quite often. Yeah. So he called me up, and, Mark, and, I could tell, I knew who it was, and he said, I'll be in. Well, he comes in, he wants this new car. Well, he could hardly walk, and he had some kind of a palsy or something because he couldn't sign his name.
Okay.
And, he shouldn't have been driving. But anyhow, he told me he wanted a new car. So basically, I put him on the couch. I picked out the car. I got the car cleaned up. I got his credit information and back then called it into the bank. I got him approved. I filled out the paperwork. I signed his name on the contracts and the paperwork as he told me to. And then I got him up with his walker and walked him out and put him in his new car and sent him on his way.
And he drove home.
And he drove home. Now, if we did that today, I'd be arrested. Yeah. But that was just it was a different world back then.
It was.
And I would say one of the things that has totally changed the way we do business now is the internet. All of our marketing pretty much is digital. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, when people come into the dealership, they already know what they want. They know what the price is.
They got it all picked out.
They've checked you out on the internet, online. They've seen the reviews. So it's a whole lot different than it was because 40 years ago, before a shopper would buy a car, he'd visit 5 dealerships.
Yes.
And now it's about 1.2. Dealerships. So when they
because they do all that shopping.
They do it,
online.
all that shopping's done online. Yeah. So they come in. It's just totally different. And as Seth has sold commercial vehicles literally all over the United States because we've had them, we sell vehicles way beyond Greene County and the Tri-County area now because we have what someone's looking for.
And again, they don't have to be here to shop.
They don't. So your lot display, all those things that were so critical before, not that they're not important, but they're not as important as your presence online.
Yeah. I had a customer call me one day. He was from Homer, Alaska.
Homer?
Yeah, and it's southern part of Alaska on the water. And
that's the end of the road. That's where, what is the hotel guy that did the commercials for the hotels that... We'll leave the light on for
Tom
you.
Bodette.
Yeah, he was from Homer.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And he saw a truck that I had. It was an F550 in maroon. Ruby red metallic is specifically what it's called. And he says, I want that truck. It already had a flatbed on it. I had it ready to roll. Him and his nephew flew to Pittsburgh. We had a driver pick him up, brought him back to Waynesburg. They did the paperwork, and off they went, making some stops in Indianapolis, Oklahoma, some other places. They bought a trailer in Indianapolis, a gooseneck trailer that the truck was already equipped to haul.
Wow.
So they picked that up and loaded some equipment up and drove all the way back to Homer, Alaska. Drove it.
Wow.
And I said, well, you're certainly giving that truck a test if that's not
There's a test drive,
if that's not a testament to Ford trucks, or I
there
mean, that
you
right
go,
there. They said it was a pleasure, but they said that they saved, because everybody was like, this is crazy. But they saved roughly $50,000 buying all their equipment in the United States, the truck, the equipment, the trailer, opposed to buying it in Alaska.
And
they sent us pictures
States,
along the way where they were at and their stops, and we put it on our Facebook page and kind of had like a little Forrest Gump type thing with the community watching their track across the United States into Alaska. So it was really interesting.
That is cool.
And that was only one. I had 2 in Alaska. A guy flew in and picked another 550 up, F550, that had a flatbed on it. And he went to Kentucky, picked his cousin up, and drove back to Seattle, Washington, and then he had it shipped to Juneau because he couldn't drive it. It was in the wintertime, and he flew to Juneau, and it was there when he got.
Because it's so remote, I can see why cost of things would be different there. It's just.
But we've sold trucks to Florida, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Kentucky.
Now that never happened 40 years
Texas.
ago.
Yeah,
Never.
Yeah, that's good. You do a good job there, Seth.
Well, thank you.
So what do you see coming? Anything new or different changes coming up?
Well, one thing that I really believe in, and I've been working on Ford's National Dealer Council the last 3 years, is the pace of change is going to accelerate. And who knows
more change.
Who knows how AI is going to change
there's a big
our business. Yeah. And for all the change that's occurred in the last 5 or 6 years, I think there will even be more over the next 5 years. So it's just an evolution. And one thing is a small town dealer, if we want to stay viable, we have to continue to evolve and change. But one thing that can't change is the fact of how we treat our customers and how we treat our community. Because that's what makes us last 114 years.
You're right.
Those kinds of things, Shelly, don't change. But the way you deliver your products, the way you're seen by your customers via the internet and other ways, those things you have to continually adapt or you're not going to keep up. Mm-hmm. And it is tougher for a small dealership because so much of our industry now has been consolidated. In fact, there are public companies that own large numbers of car dealerships across the U.S., and there's large private companies that own a large number of dealerships across the U.S. And so we're kind of an outlier. We were what most were 30 or 40 years ago, a single point owned by a single owner. Yeah. And now there aren't that many of those around. So I don't have the scale that some operators have,
right?
Owning multiple dealerships. So the secret sauce for us are our people. And we've been blessed all these 114 years with it's not the Foxes. It's just not our family. It's all these other families that we've had work and together with us to take care of our communities and our customers. I mean, they're the real backbone of our dealership. In fact, even now, I'm in and out a lot, and so we've got a great team. Brian Wood, everyone knows as Woody, is our general manager, runs the dealership day to day, and he does a wonderful job. He knows so many people, and he has the same values that we've had and the way we want people treated. Obviously, Seth is our commercial truck manager. Ethan Hacker is our fixed ops manager, and so many others are there with the same values and the same care for our customers. That never changes, and that will never change. That part of our business, it's still a people business.
Right.
But the way that we deliver our products, the way we're seen, we have to stay viable with that and stay up to date.
And the products themselves evolve and change.
Ford owns roughly 45% of the truck market,
of the commercial truck market.
Yeah, that's not that unsurprising.
So and then the rest, or take up the other 65%
altogether. And the rest of them.
I guess I have that backwards.
55%.
Yeah. So we have to stay, and Ford and they're very dedicated to staying there, if not more. And so we have to, as a dealer, and they expect their dealers to be that way also. Right. So we have to be on top of our game with training and taking care of customers.
Right.
And just being there. They're all in. Mark's all in, and the dealership has to be all in. All the employees.
I think you bring a very good point. That's true. That is the one thing that when you lose people altogether, which actually in the automotive industry there's a few options like that. But when you lose that you lose your longevity, you lose your trust that the people have in you, I think.
Shelly, when I was in high school, there were 7 new car dealerships in Waynesburg.
Right here in Waynesburg.
Right here in Waynesburg, and now there are 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just is indicative of the change in our industry.
Yeah.
And I just need to say this again. Our father, speaking for my brothers and me, Bob Fox, really instilled the virtues into all of us that we still try to live by today. I mean, my dad was known as a really honest guy, a hardworking guy, a guy that treated people well, and his employees well too.
Right.
And that's something I try to continue to do and be part of this community and be active. And as I tell our people, this just can't be about me. This is about all of us and
Everybody.
our community and our customers.
And the community, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important. That part, the community has been so good to us for 114 years.
Right.
And so it's our obligation and responsibility to respond in kind to our communities and be as supportive and helpful as we can be.
And you are, and I've seen that, and I can recall when you sponsored the road rally several times and hosted it, and all kinds of community. The work with the fire department is one, and it's not just you, your brothers. By the way, I want to mention it's Ron, right, and Dave.
Ron and Dave.
Yeah. So, and everybody knows them too. You've done a good part in that, sponsoring and supporting scholarships and various different things. Through the years I've seen you do that. We appreciate that. We just appreciate pretty much the whole business and the family and guys like you, Seth, all the employees. I think they are, as you described them, they are trustworthy, honest, carrying the same values.
Well, I've known Seth since he came in to see us all those years ago, when he worked for WA&B.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that our relationship went back a long ways, and he was part of the fire department for a time. And he's reflective of the type of people that I want working in our dealership. I want good people,
Right.
just not good at their job. Because you can be good at your job, but if you're not the right type person, it doesn't fit in our company.
Right.
I need people who are good people.
Yeah.
I can't teach that.
No, that has to.
And so I feel blessed that we have a lot of people like Seth. They're just good people.
Yeah.
And will do the right thing, and that's most important to me.
Yeah. Seth mentioned to me earlier, I think he was trying to brag, that when he worked at WB, he left to pursue another job, and that left an opening, and that's when I was hired at WB. So he says, hey, if I hadn't left, you wouldn't be here today. And none of this would be here today, because it was a good job for me, WB, but it kind of, springboarded what we went on to do with marketing and advertising and media, with direct
that's where
results.
you met BJ.
That's where I met BJ.
And then Pam came along.
And then we formed Direct Results, and so it has. So thank you, Seth, for quitting that job and moving on, because I got it, and it was a good one, and I appreciate those days too. And that's when I first met most of the businesses in Waynesburg, was going around selling ads. So anyway, it's really been nice having you guys here. We. And as I mentioned, a lot of people know you, but they don't always know the backstory. And I thought that was really fascinating. And I can appreciate the values and the memories that you've shared with us here today. We like to put you guys on the spot, though. Yeah, and you already admitted that you were Greene County born and bred and all of that. So I'm gonna end you with what we are in this with what we call a lightning round, and just ask you guys a few questions just to see how well you know it. Or it can be an opinion. And this way we engage our listeners too. Listeners, if you guys have an answer to these questions, feel free to send us an email or text us or whatever. First, I'll ask you, Seth, what is the most underrated spot in the county that everyone should visit?
Church.
Oh, wow. I love that answer. I love that answer. You're right. And there's plenty of them. So there you go, folks. All right, Mark, what is the best month of the year to live in southwestern PA?
Well, Shelly, I think we are in that month right now, June.
I like it too. Not too hot, not too cold.
And it's all green.
All green,
Yep.
yeah.
It's beautiful here right now.
Good answer. All right, back to you, Seth. This is a good one for you. What is the best Ford car to drive around Greene County with?
In this area, I would have to say a F-150 pickup.
Yeah, I agree.
Crew cab, Lariat.
That's what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good answer. You agree with that, Mark?
I do.
Yeah. Especially in Greene County, where we're going up, down, and all around. All right, Mark, last question. Oh, wow. What animal do you think best represents this county?
Well, that's kind of a hard one.
It is, yeah.
That's a hard one, but I would think an animal that is steady and just keeps on going, like a mule,
Okay.
or an animal like that just perseveres and keeps on going no matter the adversity that it faces.
Good answer. That is a good answer. I was expecting it to. I thought maybe TR would pop in here and say a deer, whitetail, but
That's what came to my mind.
That's what came to you. I love your answer, though. You're right. Purposeful and steady and enduring, hardworking. Good. I love a mule anyway. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun to have you here on the GreeneScene Podcast, and I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you'd like to add or share with those who are listening to us today?
Just come see us at Fox Ford. You're always welcome. The door's always open, and we'll take good care of you.
There you go.
Shelley, thanks for having us. It's always a pleasure for me to share the story.
All right. Well, you're very welcome, and it's a pleasure for us to hear it. Folks, we also appreciate you that have tuned in today to listen to this, and we invite you to stay tuned, come back for another episode, the next one, GreeneScene Podcast. Thank you.